7 rounds of Swiss. Now we are in finals. I'm excited to see how these two match up, and it looks like we are getting ready to go into finals.
BeanSoldier is currently not only undefeated for this event, but undefeated at the previous Premier as well. Did not drop a match on his way to a finals win. So this is the match that will determine if he goes, and I am not joking here, 20-0.
Someone must stop this man, but I don't know if it's possible. SirTractor, that falls on you to do.
Now, my money is on SirTractor. As you can see, SirTractor has 2 of the Poison Nectar Monthly Field Centers, where I believe BeanSoldier has only won 1 Poison Nectar Monthly. Really slacking in that department. You see a Smoltuga turn 1 coming down for a Volcaries, Champion of Hephaestus. Probably the breakout card from Firestorm. Available a little bit early thanks to Shattered Stars distribution. We knew early this card was going to be a problem, and it has been a really exciting addition to the list of most played Elestrals, able to enable artifacts to be playable despite their incredible cost, and really turning the screws on a lot of these archetypes that otherwise aren't willing to consider Argo. SirTractor leading with the best play in Elestrals. Astrabbit, look at the top 3 cards of the deck. And we are off to the races.
As you mentioned, so many new cards available, and you wouldn't know it based on what we're looking at right now. This Smoltuga, Astrabbit, both in defense, staring each other down, saying, well, where do we go from here?
You know, Smoltuga used to get neck rough. All right, down comes the Volcaries, Champion of Hephaestus. This card eats Gorgon's Gaze like nobody's business, almost as much as Elachik used to back in the day. Looks like SirTractor is ready to deploy it.
Yep, there it is.
One of the most gazeable cards in Elestrals. I will say, though, BeanSoldier has been playing this Volcaries in a very different way than I'm accustomed to. Frequently, you'll see the Volcaries come down, followed up with the Hephaestus. The Hephaestus will detach to grab a Torch of Hestia, and then the Torch will attach to the Volcaries to make a 6-attacker on cast that threatens more value as the game goes long. But BeanSoldier will just keep the Hephaestus in hand, trying to pair it with something like a Galaxy Altar Play or maybe a Kindleo. No reason to invest into something that's just a 2 stat line.
Very true, and that goes to show, I mean, even just slight changes in play like that can catch opponents off guard and can make all the difference. And we have a Spectaris coming out, or yes, there we go, Spectaris coming out. Got my bugs confused for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I truly do value every single bug, but they all kind of look the same to me. Going for an Argo here on the attack declaration that's going to attach to the Volcaries. We can cast pretty much anything we want here, and you see a couple of Luminate sent to the Underworld as payment for that Argo. Gives you a little bit of insight into the type of stuff that's in BeanSoldiers' list. Because the Spectaris is going to make it up to 5 by way of its own attack, we don't have to pay too much for this Argo, just a single spirit to get that Torch of Hestia online. Puts the Volcaries up to 6, sends the Specters, and immediately threatens the Astrabbit as well.
Yeah, SirTractor's sending that Spectaris to the Underworld with a quickness before the Torch was even enchanted. They said, yeah.
We all know where this is going.
Yeah, you got it. Good job. And going over to BeanSoldier, as you mentioned, that Hephaestus still in hand, waiting for an opportune moment to play it, which, you know, this is not a moment where it needs to. And you mentioned those Luminate.
We don't know if the Hephaestus has been added or is in the hand at present.
Oh, true. It did get Gorgon's Gaze.
Volcaries was Gorgon's. But it's funny, Volcaries isn't the only card that allows you to spend spirits from your Underworld on a powerful artifact. Cypremol allows you to enchant a Golden Fleece from your deck using spirits from your Underworld, which is why we paid the 2 Luminate for that Argo. Getting those in the Underworld early makes sure we can recycle them here. And even though we're at 14 spirits, they are currently all represented on the field.
Yeah, I can't believe Argo was free. That's that's incredible. And Cypremol is one of those cards that for the longest time people said Cypremol bad. And then Bo said, I think Cypremol's crazy, and everyone was forced to agree with that. And BeanSoldier said,
rocking here is the Torch of Hestia Foretell. That was a Champ Poseidon, a Viserys, and one other card.
Yeah, that Champ Poseidon, as we have seen in BeanSoldier's hands, is a dangerous, dangerous card.
If you thought that Eddie was Astrabbit killer, you haven't seen nothing yet. And just a miserable shield coming down from SirTractor. BeanSoldier, of course, has equipped his Elestrals in such a way that the only profitable shield would be on the Volcaries, but deploying the Volcaries again next turn is just as frightening.
And on top of that, let's not forget that turtle is still there from turn 1, just sat in defense. We see Snark finally. Snark coming out. Okay,
After 100
it's
years,
happening.
we've made Snark happen.
Oh, and there is Draking, the search allowing you, of course, to get a card that is exactly water, lunar, enchanted. There are a few different targets for that. This one being...
You see Tsunami High Tide occasionally. We saw a player playing that with Javalantis, of all things. Rocking a hard place. Joblin, of course, but Draking has been the go-to for the last couple of events, just because it pairs up so nicely against a lot of the threats in Firestorm format. Things like the ever-present Like a Void champion just don't stand up to it. Here, unfortunately, it looks like the Cybermaw is not going to stand up to the Zeus activation, sinking it down to 1 attack, so low that even the Astrabbit can get in it, wiping that fleece off the field, and suddenly BeanSoldier's on the back foot. If that set card is Gorgons, I think SirTractor is good, but if not, it's time for the Volcaries half the deck.
Yeah, this could be rough, especially knowing that Draking is in hand, threatening an Ascension just going into this next turn. BeanSoldier really wants to get rid of that Snark here, and as you said, that recast of that shielded Volcaries, he is coming back out, this time not to be met by a gaze. We will see.
A little frightening then. You have to imagine the set card isn't a poison-tipped arrow, because a poison-tipped here would trade really well, prevent the Snark from going to the Underworld without trading for the champion in the process, which means that likely it's a Tsunami, and the Tsunami here does what you need. It keeps bodies on board, which enables you to make a huge Draking play next turn. Ooh, a shield again!
Oh my goodness.
No.
Okay, which means we're gonna be seeing
bleeding spirits, but is going to be able to ascend into the Draking if they so desire here.
But we're also gonna see that Volcaries come down again.
I don't think we have another Hephaestus to search, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, and here he comes, properly enchanted this time. We did see the Thunder Enchanted Draking last time he hit the field, and that was quite fun, but I like to see him properly enchanted.
Unfortunately, BeanSoldier doesn't have a shield with which to respond, instead opting for a Gorgon's Gaze. Not exactly where you want to be, especially into live back row from SirTractor. We're going to have to get rid of this copy of Draking, and I don't know how we're going to. It's possible the reason we kept the Hephaestus in hand despite having the Volcaries on field is because we have a Kindleo in hand and want to retain the Hephaestus as a Nexus bank. This would be a great opportunity to deploy the Kindleo. It can threaten both the Draking and the Astrabbit. Just depends what that set card is. If it's a Gorgon's Gaze, we might be screwed either way.
Well, I think that if that had been a Gorgon's Gaze, it would have been deployed last turn against that Volcaries. As
this is actually the first turn it's been down. It was the shield last turn.
Oh, you're true. Okay, well, it could be a gaze. They could be lurking.
And BeanSoldier really agonizing over this play. He knows a Kindleo play loses to so much. Ooh, another copy? Oh, no. Are we going to... Oh, misenchanting this here. A water and a Thunder Spirit under the Golden Fleece.
What are we
That's
nexusing?
going to permit us to cast Heliolith. We just leave it on field, and we don't play enough of the Luminape.
We're bouncing. Okay, that does get rid of the Draking.
And also tests for Gorgon's Gaze, so you have to imagine the set card is probably either a shield or a Tsunami, neither of which deals super elegantly with this. Tsunami it is, that Heliolith goes to defense position, but is still a huge threat unless we deploy the Draking again into a piece of back row.
Yeah, the 5/5 stat, as it turns out, is really, really difficult to deal with because no matter what you do, it's quite difficult to get over.
Even Zeusing it down, like you can't Astrabbit over it, it's really kind of grody.
I mean, we might see the ascension of the Draking over the Rabbit because at the end of the day, the stat is important. However, I'm not sure if SirTractor is going to go that direction.
Thumbing through the hand here, they're checking the wording on Heliolith.
Oh, okay. Might come down to we need to rewind and take it back to the previous game state here.
We are going to ascend into the... Oh, we may be rewinding here.
Yeah, I think we're going back here. It seems there is some question about the wording on Heliolith, which I'm sure our judges are there dealing with and figuring out, making sure we can get back to where we need to be.
There's a significant amount of frustrating things about Heliolith here. It doesn't exactly do what you want. You know what it might be? Did we pull the Tsunami off of the Draking with the understanding that the Draking would be returning to the hand? If that's the case, we may need to recheck if Heliolith targets or not.
I'm not sure. I feel like the Tsunami came out after Draking was already gone, but I could be wrong here.
So at present, we're just rewinding the board state so that the judge can figure out what's going on. And then we will determine the outcome of this.
Okay, so it looks like Heliolith is going back to hand, and we are really reversing this.
I imagine we're just waiting for a judge decision now. There will probably be a minute time extension plus a rewind of the game state. Checking spirits as well. I imagine BeanSoldier has put back the couple of Luminate that were under the Heliolith as well from this position. Kind of it's a gummy board state to deal with. I mean, this artifact deck gets itself into these situations so frequently. Really difficult corner case rulings that often don't come up. I mean, we were on camera just a couple of rounds earlier in which BeanSoldier was able to use spirits in the underworld to cast artifact runes, despite the fact that there was no Hephaestus on his side of the field, because Volcaries only cares if a Hephaestus is on the field, period, and was using his opponents as the necessary stepping stone to get the extra benefit.
There's so many small interactions to keep track of, and exactly like that, and I'm sure this is another one of those situations.
Yeah. Heliolith, of course, is also a really strange card to play. Unlike the other liths, it doesn't come down in a position where you are necessarily losing. It can be cast if any artifact is enchanted. Here, the Golden Fleece is misenchanted, but is enchanted regardless. And for that reason, you can cast the Heliolith. It does bounce an opponent's Elestral, even though your opponent hasn't made any mistakes by failing to play around it, if that makes sense, like you would with a Lavalith or an Arcolith.
Okay, all right. We will find out for sure and be able to let you all know as soon as we have gotten it sorted here.
This is a lot of information to know as well, I will say. Regardless of how this settles out, knowing the back row is a copy of Tsunami, knowing that Heliolith is BeanSoldier's functional out to this copy of Draking means that both players get to play with a little more assurance than they would be able to otherwise. So I imagine this has got to be something pretty major if they're rewinding this far.
Yeah, and the fact that we know that Tsunami, there's a lot of information that's been given away here, and it will definitely, with players of this caliber, they will play forward with both of those things in mind.
And unfortunately, we have figured out what the issue was. The text on Heliolith is that a Heliolith can be normal cast for 2 solar if an artifact is enchanted, but an artifact that has the wrong spirits underneath it is considered misenchanted, not enchanted, which means the normal cast of the Heliolith is not legal. That's going to put that back in the hand and BeanSoldier on the back foot as he struggles to cobble together something relevant with a Golden Fleece that now is doing less than nothing.
It's so interesting because so often Golden Fleece is misenchanted in situations like this because it's used as a Nexus bank, which of course that's perfectly fine to use it that way. But you're right, when it comes down to wording of enchanted versus misenchanted, that's when it becomes a little bit different. Right, but in Necklace of Harmonia,
the aggro Necklace of Harmonia here,
all attached to this little small Tuga, by the way.
And notably, that one is enchanted properly, so we are gonna bounce that sucker.
Woo! Here we go. And
now, guess what? Nice Tsunami. That small Tuga's getting aggro. Oh no, we actually enchanted the Draking there so that we don't have to pay out at end step.
Okay, fair enough.
No, this was a pretty rough sequence for BeanSoldier, of course. Now the Golden Fleece isn't doing anything. We've lost our Necklace of Harmonia. But as far as misplays go, it's wild that this was a recoverable one.
we were able to back up, and unfortunately, BeanSoldier has invested a lot of spirits to get rid of that Draking, and this is a trickier position, as you said. That Necklace of Harmonia is a big thing to lose here, especially because a lot of these lists are only playing one.
Ooh,
oh my gosh! Yeah, Earthquake on the Heliolith. Now we simply have our two beginning of the game Elestrals still sitting here, the Astrabbit and the Turtle, both 5 booties, saying, oh, hey, come here often? Yes, now, actually. Quite.
Of course, it's terrible on this board state. But maybe SirTractor won't realize that it's misenchanted, will cast the Draking, attack into the Smoltuga, and then not take it because he thinks it stays on the field. Or maybe because the Draking is misenchanted.
With a Thunder, yeah. So hard. All right, and we are simply just...
See it. No, down goes the Smoltuga and its associated spirits. All right, we're down to just a Draking. Do we have a removal spell for it? If we do, we can still win this game. Otherwise, we probably can't. Sucks the Volcaries and the Hephaestus are in hand because it would be really fantastic to be able to cast something like a Necklace of Harmonia from this position.
Yeah, but that is in the underworld, as we know. And
ending to draw here, that's rough.
Yeah,
can we make it past this Draking? It's so huge. And a scoop out of BeanSoldier, unfortunately.
Here we go. It just goes to show that there's no way to predict how these clashes can end up.
Yeah, I'm going to see if we mulligan first. The thing about BeanSoldier's deck is it is very possible that it draws poorly. It looks like we are just going for the first turn expend to draw. This Fire Nexus deck has a lot of cards you don't necessarily want to draw, but aren't terrible to. Hephaestus, Torch of Hestia, like we saw last time, Golden Fleece, and copies of Necklace of Harmonia, of course, aren't fantastic. But for that reason, it needs to mulligan pretty aggressively in a strategy that really wants to keep as many spirits in the spirit deck as possible. You want, a million Vipyros. You can always be Nexusing with your Kindleo. So you can play totally ignorantly with Lavalith. So there is a little push and pull that I'm sure that BeanSoldier is familiar with. Foamy coming down, eating a poison-tipped arrow. That's optimal for BeanSoldier TV. Let's see what this Smoltuga adds.
Okay.
It's going to be Volk again.
Yep. Unsurprising there. We're going to get this engine started. And I'm glad that you caught what happened with that Foamy, because I was just looking at it like, there are cards happening. But yes, we are here. Unfortunately, Foamy is a card that we have not seen do anything.
It has been in a lot of decks, but it sure hasn't done anything.
Not one thing has it done, actually, but,
it's kind of good in the same way that Smoltuga is. It's kind of just a good guy that protects your spirit deck, because no one wants to attack into it. That doesn't mean it's, good. Schnark coming down, gonna grab a Draking, I'd imagine, although, we could always get High Tide.
True, but we are gonna get that Draking. There's so many options. Schnark, we love him. And it looks like both of these decks are, at the beginning, able to go and get their game plan. We're able to start doing the things that we want to do. And we're going to be able to see, honestly, how these two decks match up here.
All right, Zeusing down the Smoltuga means that the Schnark's going to walk over it. If you're BeanSoldier, you probably don't fight over this. It's not a really important piece of your game plan. The Galaxy is. Galaxy here is so absolutely incredible. We'll perform the flip. That's going to switch Schnark from a 3-attack Elestral to a 3-attack Elestral, but the Galaxy to a 5. It plays well around pretty much everything, including a Shield of Achilles. A Gorgon's Gaze here is going to, I imagine, be activated on attack declaration and just function as a fog that you had to pay 2 for.
Mm-hmm. Preserving that Schnark, as we know, we have the Draking in hand. It wants to ascend over the Schnark this turn, and if it does, that is going to be very difficult depending on what back row BeanSoldier is sitting on here.
I think you have to be very wary if you're a SirTractor. You can see them table tapping here. This is a tasty, tasty Draking. Draking take a properly enchanted Champion of Poseidon Galaxy is exactly where you want to be. You can re-enchant the Galaxy the next turn to get its effect if you need it. The problem is, would Josh give you an attack that good? I mean, you have to assume it's a Shield of Achilles or a Gorgon's Gaze or something that's going to impede your progress.
We will see, though. We have
We're
a
even going
back
to
row.
sink down the galaxy.
Oh, okay. I guess in case that is an Argo is what we're maybe playing around. It's
Yeah.
a Gorgon's Gaze.
I think you were spot on the money, and Argo would pump to exactly 7, and the galaxy could crash with a Necklace of Harmonia. Instead, the gaze coming down. That's still a pretty good position to be in if you're SirTractor. You obviously don't want to lose the Drakking, and this keeps it on the field. BeanSoldier's got a play that's immediately visible. It's Reenchant the Galaxy. That'll flip it to a 5-2 against the Drakking's 4-7. Is that good enough? I don't know. It would have to play nicely into the back row, but every back row beats it at that point, with the exception of PTA. Looks like we're just going to Necklace of Harmonia.
Okay,
maybe
so
with a couple of fire spirits?
Earth and
Earth
fire.
and a fire. Wow, keeping our options open.
Might see Kinleo going in the next turn. Who knows?
Or
Might
an
see
Echolinx.
Echolinx. Yeah.
Or a Heliolith. A Heliolith would also be pretty good. Says, I've learned my lesson about this. Once again, equipping that Necklace of Harmonia to the Drakking so we don't have to pay for it at end step. Set 1 card. These two going in, Heliolith for 2 and Galaxy for 1. So Tractor spent a lot of spirits to get to this position, and we'll go down to 9 if this is successful, or 10 rather.
We do just see them expending these spirits for damage, so looks like this is going to be a successful attack, possibly saving that back row until there's something to protect, which I think makes a lot of sense. And going into this next turn, I mean, we've lost the Drakking, the Zeus is gone, we're looking at Heliolith. Last time SirTractor simply had an Earthquake, so I don't know what else there could be to answer, and Rabbit is something.
Aggro Rabbit, by the way.
Well, it does walk over that galaxy.
It trades. That's good enough. That was a jettison out of the deck there. He said, I want that one. I imagine it's pretty good. I'm guessing Earthquake.
If we see Earthquake on Heliolith again, that would be interesting. We see a set card, maybe that was what was picked, but
I actually don't think you take this straight if you're SirTractor. Yeah, I think you just pass here. Down comes the Volk. Forces out a Gorgon's Gaze, maybe? No, nothing. Volcaries will get us a copy of Hephaestus. We'll probably keep that in hand. Nothing on field really needs the Hephaestus. I guess there's an argument that you can go Hephaestus for something to pump the Galaxy to play around a Tsunami, but nothing pumps it high enough outside of the Necklace, which you've already used. So I think we're likely just going to attack and eating a Tsunami if it exists.
Yeah, I think we've only got Torch left.
Testing for the shield here with the Volk. It is a Tsunami, as expected. Yep. Not a lot you can do about that.
Oh, yeah. It's like, are we moving Galaxy?
No, we're just establishing dominance.
Yeah, okay. So are we moving this Galaxy to defense? Okay.
So we can recast the Drakking here. Just leave it on the field. The only thing it loses to is Poison-Tipped Arrow. You do kind of expect that BeanSoldier's on some number of them because they went first this time. But as long as you don't get in any trouble and you have an out for the Galaxy, it's not a terrible play.
Yeah, the Galaxy is really the big threat here, and
it's totally complicating everything.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the same could be said of the previous normal Galaxy. It would also be causing the same issues.
I do appreciate that Champion Galaxy is exactly like normal Galaxy and that it totally ruins your opponent's life. The difference is this one doesn't also ruin your life. Get you into terrible situations in the battle step with Gorgon's Gaze. Make your Eddies a 1/4. It's just a cool card.
Yeah, and we have seen it used viciously throughout this day is the only way I can describe it.
That's not Earthquake. It's Ambro. Moving down to 7 and then back up to 10, I believe.
Going to be returning probably water, maybe lunar.
Now, we've seen a couple of times the math in SirTractor's deck is not fantastic. You can see we're playing a lot here. That looks like the necessary spirits for a Hurricane. And that looks like a Hurricane.
Ooh, yeah. That's exactly what we're looking at here.
Pretty good one. You're 2 for 2ing here, losing a shield for yourself. And from BeanSoldier, really, really hesitant to flip these up. Yeah, there's no shot we have something like a Divine Blessing, is there?
That would be Stunning.
Looks like Altar and Shield.
Okay.
Two really good cards against a copy of
Argo.
Draking. All right, we're going to fire off the Draking. It is not properly enchanted, but it does have 7 attack. It can easily get over the Galaxy, which it has to, or else we can re-enchant the Galaxy and walk over the Draking, provided SirTractor doesn't a card.
And considering that wasn't Argo, I think probably good to get rid of it, although the Galaxy wouldn't have been able to do much either way, unfortunately. As you mentioned, that necklace is long gone, and Torch doesn't do it. I think that
Torch does kind of do it. We can Torch equip to the Heliolith. It goes up to 7. We can crash with the Draking. Puts SirTractor on Gotta Have It at a point where their best threat is gone. Or we can ascend over the Heliolith for a second Heliolith. We can do that too. That's also always been an option.
Oh, and we just keep bouncing this Draking back to hand. Oh my goodness.
No. How much solar is BeanSoldier on? We saw in a previous match he ran out.
Well, we haven't seen Golden Fleece this time, so maybe that really is the
I think
thing that makes the
exactly
difference.
5, right? Oh, or exactly 4 rather. You expend the 2 early, Cypher Maul gets 2 back, and then you can like ascend over with a Heliolith. It's got to be 5 exactly. That's going to be a scoop out of SirTractor, and we are moving to a game 3 situation. These two individuals, I swear. Oh, maybe it wasn't a scoop, but an exasperated hands in the air type gesture.
I think we might still
Rather than a scoop, it was the precursor to a scoop. A frustration followed by an ambrosia.
Okay, all right. I guess it's hard to scoop when you have ambrosia, because you say...
You want to play it out.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that position where you're in a losing position, you go, I'll scoop. Then you look at your hand and you see 2 ambro and you go, well, let's give it a turn, actually.
And this is something that would make it worth continuing if we're able to get Champ Like a Void out on board. Okay.
Setting one card could be literally anything. Back to BeanSoldier says, can you beat Champ Like a Void? I think the answer is probably yes. Any number of cards does it here. We could ascend over the Heliolith for a 4th Heliolith.
I think I would concede at that point, no matter how many ambrosias were in my hand if that happened. We don't see the draw phase activation of that full moon, which is interesting.
Yeah, it elects to not play around spot removal or cryoblast. I think correctly. A deck like BeanSoldiers that's playing main deck Heliolith, that's playing Kind Leo, that's an opportunity to shave some of the spot removal. So you'd rather deploy it in the battle phase where it can maybe save you some damage.
I think that will put us in a tricky position, though, with if Heliolith pokes through for all this damage, then we just don't have the spirits to be able to do Full Moon and Like a Void.
Yeah, I think we would miscast the Full Moon, ascend into a Like a Void, and then decline to summon any Werepup, try and take over the game with just a 6/7. It's not pretty, but, you know, when you have 3 spirits left, you do what you have to.
Yeah, we are doing what we need to do to get it done. SirTractor is, despite everything, managing to stay in this game. Rabbit coming out, possibly going for that spot removal.
It's a missed Rabbit.
Simply just a big body then, which is fair enough. And here comes that Full Moon.
Full Moon's out of the Spirit deck. We will ascend into the Like a Void. That Like a Void's big. I imagine we might actually just straight up decline to activate its effect, because whatever we summon just gets immediately eaten by our Volcaries and our Heliolith. No reason to go down 1 further Spirit. We are dangerously low on healing as well. We only have 1 more Ambro in deck, and finding it here doesn't really change the math on anything. I mean, this is where SirTractor likes to be, you know. 1 powerful Elestral against the world. Sometimes it's Draking, sometimes it's Like a Void. But either way, BeanSoldier's going to have to find an out.
Yeah, being able to say, you better be able to deal with this. And sometimes the answer is, I can't. And even in this position, we could very quickly get BeanSoldier into sort of a corner. I mean, we've already seen 3 different activations of Heliolith, and I don't think we'll see another.
Eddie's good here. You have to out the Volcaries as well as probably the Heliolith. Just because the Volcaries means that you can use Fire Spirits that otherwise might be missing from your Spirit deck to go for a Torch play, 6 over the the Leica Void. SirTractor now down to 0. Everything on field. We are ascending. What do we got? A Lavalith? Oh no.
Water. Oh, it's Champ Galaxy again!
It's just Champ Galaxy. We're going to hit over the Eddy for 1 with a 0 Spirit deck and walk with it. Miserable. I mean, if you're a SirTractor, you have to be thinking, what if I just didn't play Eddy? But absolutely played that correctly. There was no better option there. Let's transition now to the final game of your Elestrals Premier event.
I cannot wait. I love seeing...
That's a pretty good turn 1 play.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Bringing out a Werepup and getting that full
Here we go.
moon.
Now, if you're BeanSoldier, there's a lot of ways that you can prepare against this. Boarding into something like Cryoblast is pretty powerful. I don't think we've seen the Flurmine out of BeanSoldier, but could always be skittling the Spirit deck in such a way to keep it online. We know that SirTractor hasn't been firing it in draw phase much, so a piece of removal here could do really well if we're allowed to make it to main. You can see, I think we have an Argo in grip already, but that's all I can see. BeanSoldier asking about draw, and it is coming down right now. We're going to go for the full moon. I don't think we are going to enchant it very much, if at all. Yeah, we're even missing the moon, but that does trigger the Werepup, which enables it to ascend into Champion Like a Void. Real quick going, oh, well, hold up. We don't want to miscast it. And we are going all the way in, says, I know you are not playing Spectrus in this deck.
Yeah, I think that's probably safe to assume. Although, if anyone was going to be hiding Specterus for this many games and not revealing it until the finals, it would be BeanSoldier. But I think pretty safe to assume that these puppies coming out and having everything properly enchanted is a safe bet.
All right, BeanSoldier going for a copy of Astrabbit here. This is pretty powerful. Hopefully that we will we'll be able to find something valuable here.
Yeah, if not, I mean, we've talked about this a couple times so far today. Astrabbit is starting to feel a little slow, especially when you're looking at things.
Look at what just happened!
Yeah.
15 Elestrals worth of material on the field said, I will attack you to death if you permit me. BeanSoldier's like, well, this bunny might find me a tsunami.
And unfortunately, I don't know. We're not looking at any back row so far. Okay, there we go. 1 is set. 2 is set. I don't know.
You gotta go all in. There's no other option. You gotta go all the way in.
Oh my gosh.
Can't
okay.
play around anything. If SirTractor has set 2 back row, including a copy of Tsunami, you just get got. And the whole team is here. Down comes Draking, Like a Void. This is as aggressive as SirTractor can be. Said, I am not going to give you the space to breathe. Let's see what BeanSoldier's got to respond with.
It's got it. There has to be an answer. I am shocked we didn't see Hurricane.
Only shield works here.
Okay. Already touching those back row, we know it's got to be coming. There is an answer, and it is
Argo.
Okay.
How interesting. We can use the Argo here to cast something like a Golden Fleece to prevent the Astrabbit from being destroyed. Then when the Like a Void attaches, we can Tsunami, which maybe does something. Alternatively, I wonder if we have a Liar. No, it is going to be the Golden Fleece. Golden Fleece enchanted with 2 solar and then means that we can protect the rabbit from the Draken attack. But we still need to have something to prevent it from dying to the Like a Void, right?
We will see. I mean, is this about to be... Again, we've seen Heliolith so many times come back. This poor Draking has not stopped bouncing since the beginning of this clash.
Oh my goodness. Can I really not do math? Golden Fleece just buffs the butt on Astrabbit sufficiently that the Draking can't get over it. It's exactly 7.
And an... What is that?
Viserys coming down. Trying to walk over this suppressed Werepup here. And SirTractor's thinking if it's worth it. I mean, do you really care if BeanSoldier goes wide on this board? Your entire strategy is predicated on the Draking getting there. We are going to go ahead and... Oh, the Draking doesn't flip, don't worry. We are going to go ahead and fire off this Tsunami here. If you're BeanSoldier, I think you're really happy with that trade. Nothing on the board threatens the Astrabbit yet. And Viserys for a back row is a trade you always want to make. Your win condition is to resolve a Heliolith from this position, bounce something like the Draking, and just hope against hope.
Now, we haven't seen Heliolisk so far, and as it turns out in the previous games, it's just always been present. But without these big cards being removed immediately like we've seen, they are really backing Josh into a corner here.
That Golden Fleece really putting in a lot of work here. I think SirTractor is kind of wondering how they're going to actually out the rabbit. It's going to need a hard removal spell. Not too much in SirTractor's list can get over it. Sans Zeus. So maybe we load up on a Divine. Maybe we load up on a hard removal spell. But no matter what we do, it's going to feel really bad.
And that's a Thunder Spirit.
Oh, it's going to turn the draw.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, could have fooled me.
I know. I really thought that's what we were going into.
All right, we're going to at least use the Draking to eat the Viscerus. I wonder if we're going to cast it here. Probably. Just nice to go wider, even though it doesn't actually change anything. And we're using Poison Nectar Monthly Field Center in order to represent that Viscerus. We'll have to remember that it's got 4 attack.
Yeah, it is misenchanted with water. And I think that is Josh reminding himself that there is, in fact, a Viscerus over there. Just being puppeted by Draking. Okay.
SirTractor looks like they're in total control of this game, and make no mistake, at present they are, but Josh is hardly out of it. Like, this Ast Rabbit has put in a lot of work just as a defensive body, and will continue to do so. Even re-enchanting it here isn't the worst thing in the world. You do kind of want SirTractor to have to go for it, especially into a back row that could conceivably contain, like, a Shield of Achilles that could blow him out.
And we see Champ Galaxy coming out. This has been the most dangerous card that BeanSoldier has played all day. And
swap the attack and defense of every single Elestral on the field, including the Draking, which is now a 4/7. Attacking into the Draking plays around pretty much everything. And the Ast Rabbit with a big attack stat as well. Are we trying to use it to clear? Telegraphing a Tsunami in the back row pretty badly, but what else are you going to do?
Yeah, this rabbit is absolutely insane right now.
You're doing ordering here because, of course, we can't hit the Draking at present. We have to walk over the Elestral that it has reanimated.
Yeah.
So it looks like we will be doing that, walking over the Viscerus, and then attempting to use the Ast Rabbit to attack into the Draking.
Are we looking at a trade here with the rabbit and the Draking?
No.
Okay.
The Draking has 4 attack, and
right, because of the
switch. That's as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, the shield.
Oh no. That rabbit was the only thing keeping us in the game, and now we are about to get dracked on.
Yeah, the number of times that I have seen a game be thrown just because someone says, maybe I do need to attack with this rabbit. I honestly...
Well, in this position, he had to. Otherwise, the Draking would have been moved on field. Expending the draw here says, there's really no reason for me to go any further. I've got everything I want on the field already. The only thing I'm fishing for is back row.
Yeah, and that is something that, as we just saw, can make or break. And we did get it. We get 1 back row set here. And now we're just going to be swinging over everything and going in for damage because that Ast Rabbit wall is gone. However, a Gorgon's Gaze coming out from BeanSoldier, probably onto that Draking.
That's kind of weird. The Lycovoid can still attack over, and the Werepup can get in direct, which means we've traded a card for 2 damage. I guess it gets us to a position where a future Elestral could get over the Draking, because otherwise we'd be casting the Champ Galaxy from the underworld and protecting it further. Still, BeanSoldier's back against the wall here. Not a lot you can do from this position.
No, and you're right. Being able to say, yeah, I do not actually want this Galaxy to be used against me over here, especially because it could be properly enchanted. Not that the effect would be doing too much, but can you re-enchant a Draking target that you have?
You can.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And we see Cypher
Maul. Yeah.
It's a water enchanted.
We're just going Cypher Maul and then enchanting a Necklace of Harmonia to bump it up to 9. Technically contests the board. This is rough. You hate to see someone's back against the wall in such a way. A shield blows them out. A Gorgon's Gaze makes you take 2. There's so much that just absolutely ends Josh's career on the spot.
Yeah, only Tsunami.
Looks like we don't have it.
Oh, okay. maybe that is a tsunami that's set then, in which case this water enchanted Cypher Mall is going to go crazy. However, with Necklace of Harmonia burning Josh for 2 after each of his turns, this is a bit of a ticking clock.
Champ Galaxy coming down the non-foil here does just as much work.
Yep.
That'll flip to Cypher Mall, even with the Necklace of Harmonia buff. And what are we looking at? Josh down to 4 spirits. Not a lot left in the tank.
Especially considering that everything that we have in this list needs more spirits to be able to play around, even if we wanted to go into the Hephaestus stuff.
This attack is so safe too. There's so little that interacts with it. Taking it off the champion. And we could take 3 here. Josh goes down to 1. This could be the last turn of his tournament life. Is SirTractor going to do the impossible and take down the undefeated, undisputed Premier Format champion? Here we go.
Do we see an Ambrosia
activation?
It's got to
start with Ambro. It's got to start with Ambro, baby.
Okay, what are we getting back? Is it all fire? Are we going for Hephaestus stuff? No, I see thunder, and water. Okay. That means possibly Champ Galaxy, possibly more Astrabbit.
Astrabbit again.
There we go. Okay.
So we're telegraphing a tsunami by getting the water back, and of course we want the ability to re-enchant the rabbit if we feel it's necessary. We still need a second Ambro to really feel in this game in any sort of meaningful sense, and we don't have any way to out this copy of Like a Void. Our best option, of course, is Shield of Achilles, which doesn't do it. Moreover, SirTractor has a really easy way to out the Astrabbit even without Like a Void, and that is to just play Champ Galaxy, re-enchant it again. However, we can send it by way of our Resting on Your Laurels.
Okay.
Now just 1 Like a Void stands between us and parity, but it's a big ask. Edward, that's it. Oh no! Wait, no.
Yep.
Oh no!
And that is
the scoop coming in, and SirTractor is your premier event champion. Lived the unthinkable, was able to take down BeanSoldier finally after a tournament in which he lost 0 games total.
Welcome everyone to the interview. So glad to have you all here with our newest champion, the second champion of the Firestorm format, SirTractor, and companion. What is the puppy's name?
This is Keely.
Keely, do you know that your family is a champion now?
Oh, she knows it. Oh,
she wants down. Keely?
She wants down.
All right, that's fine.
I'm sorry, sweetheart.
I'm not here. I'm the trophy, but I don't need to be seen. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on becoming the champion. A long day, 12 hours of Elestrals has brought you to this peak. You have earned your world's invite as well.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel in this moment?
Excited, stressed. I'm ready to go eat.
Got a meal ready to go?
Yeah, got a meal ready to go.
What's the champion meal like?
It is, I think, a vegan lasagna right now.
Love a good lasagna. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might need to change my dinner as well when we get over this.
Yeah.
So the deck you bought, obviously Werepup and Like a Void is here because that's an amazing turn 1 play. It actually cinched you the entire tournament essentially. But you chose Draking for your list. What was the idea? What was the thought behind your deck, its build, and how it would play into this meta?
So I mostly picked it because I just wanted to have fun with this tournament. And I saw that Climax and Spicy Sausage had played this exact deck. And I basically took Spicy Sausage's list from the last premiere, changed a bunch of cards, and then changed it right back to his list. So
I'm glad you experimented it with. That's the part of it. Sometimes you just gotta go with the recipe as is. That matchup was, I mean, you faced something similar to what we expected as well with Fire Artifacts, but then BeanSoldiers brought so many different cards right now. So this meta is still far from over. How did you prepare for this tournament? How did you decide that the list that Spicy Sausage brought last tournament was the way to go?
So I haven't been able to play too much, to be honest, besides locals, and the 1 PNM. But I just picked the list because I saw Dracking. I'm like, I want to play Dracking. Dracking sounds fun.
Dracking is a very popular card. Everyone's been trying to make it work. And Dracking, as well as you, are now champions in the Premier Tournament series. So congrats to both of you on that. I want to talk about the match real quick. Game one, really solid performance. Game two, BeanSoldier cracks back. Game three, you're now in this scenario before you even draw your opening hand. What's that feeling like, knowing you're facing the previous champion who's been undefeated in this current tournament, but you have the draw on your side?
Honestly, I was kind of relaxed going into it. I've played Bean a lot, and we've both been in the finals before. We both have a win. But also, like, Bean is just so nice that it's really easy to have a nice back and forth that keeps you calm and helps with the nerves.
Yeah.
So, I was honestly just kind of just vibing.
Okay. That's always great. Just being able to be in a zen mindset allows both players to just play at their best. So, and it clearly showed because y'all played out of your mind. That opening hand, clearly it was Werepup. But what was it like, and how did you feel when you saw those five and just like, how was that thought? What was that thought process like?
That opening hand was insane. I think it was Werepup, Rabbit, 2 back row, and Dracking, as I think was what it was. So I saw that hand. I'm like, this is the best hand I could ever see this entire tournament.
Yeah, 2 back row. It's enough to keep you past 2 turns. You have Werepup, which is consistent pressure, and all 3 are a source to ascend into Dracking from, which you did the exact next turn. Estrabin for recovery. Back row is back row with all really good. Just fantastic play. As I said earlier, you also earned your invite to Worlds. That's going to be happening soon. How do you feel knowing that we're going to see you on the world stage for Elestrals?
Honestly, I'm more excited about the part that I don't have to care about premieres going forward. I just get to play whatever sounds fun. I don't have to try as hard.
So you're going to make Panderson work for me, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'll try it.
That's why you're my dog. That's why I appreciate you. That's why I appreciate you. So clearly you've been playing well. You have been to tops before. You have had amazing performances before. So those people who are looking to get to your level, to make it to this stage, do you have any words of advice, encouragement, suggestions for them?
Yeah, so make sure you go to your locals as much as you can. And then I think the biggest thing for me all tournament was trying to not tilt or reset after being tilted. The mindset is very important. Make sure you're able to either not tilt or reset immediately after becoming tilted.
Always very good. One bad mindset switch and your entire misplays can just start piling on like that. So you're absolutely right. And regarding your locals, the store locator on shopelestrals.com is how you can find it. And if you do not have one near you, let us know. Contact us via support and we'll try to make it happen for you and everybody else. So before we let you go, is there any shout outs you have that you want to give to people who helped you make it to this point? You already mentioned Spicy Sausage and no less. But any practice plays or anyone in particular you want to give thanks to for reaching it here today?
Yeah, big shout outs to my wife. One, she keeps me fed during these. It's the biggest and most important part of it. And then big shout outs to my local players, Adam. I know he's not local anymore, but he was local. I still play with him a lot. Hockey Grandma, and then A-Team as well. They're my local players I play with a lot.
Amazing. Well, congrats. Thank you to all of them for helping SirTractor make it to this point. And once again, one more congratulations to you for this. Cannot wait to see what you do at Worlds. The meta will not be the same, but I'm sure you're going to perform just as well, if not even better.